Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome onto my channel today, and it gives me great joy you are viewing this video. I'm Dr. Olanika Conley. I am a sociologist, I'm a researcher, I'm a public speaker, I'm a life coach, I'm an author. On this channel, I do a number of stuff, but all these stuffs I do, they are to make the best out of my subscribers and my viewers. Today again, I implore you to kindly subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed previously. Tap the subscribe button on your screen right now and subscribe, or you click the subscribe button. And if you have subscribed previously, thank you very much for staying tuned. In this video, I want to address a very important, very fundamental issue or subject within the confine of sociology. I love sociology, actually. And the title of this video, therefore, is Micro and Macro Sociology, meaning differences and importance. If you are a sociologist, or you are a student of sociology, or you just want to be admitted to sociology, it's very important for you to watch this video till the end. Try as much as possible to view the video to the end. And why is this very important? There is no way you're going to be a strong sociologist or excellent sociologist without settling the agitations between the macro sociology and the macro sociology, the micro sociology and the macro sociology. This is an issue that you will continue to engage, and that's why in this video I want to pay close attention to the importance, because many people talk about macro sociology, micro sociology, and they just define them and they move on. But these are very important areas of sociology with strong implications, for whatever you want to do in sociology. Your understanding of macro sociology, micro sociology, the differences and similarities will have implications for even how you conduct your research. Will have implication for the methodology, will have implication for the theories we're going to use. I have a lot of videos on theoretical framework, research issues on this channel. Kindly view. So that's why I see many people complain about theory. They're having problems in theory, they're having problems in research, in methodology. And most of the time, you can trace these problems or challenges to their understanding of the agitations around macro and micro sociology. That's why I feel so strongly persuaded to drop this video. So the issue of macro and micro sociology are so vexing in sociology, and the arguments are still ongoing. So what can we consider as micro sociology? Micro sociology simply addresses or refers to the issue of attempting to understand small communities, small interpersonal relationships, small social units. When you're considering small interpersonal relationship, for example, ethnic groups, small ethnic groups, peer groups, family units, or friendship, or just interpersonal relationship between 2, 3, 4, 5 people, micro in this case also means small. Once you try to adopt sociological capabilities, sociological concepts, sociological theories, sociological methodologies to understand small groups of people, small units of people, interpersonal relationship, we say you are engaged in micro sociology. On the other hand, once you want to conduct research or you want to theorize relationships, among, groups at a very large scale, it could be nationally, it could be statewide, it could be continentally, it could be globally, then we say Once you are adopting sociological methodologies, sociological theories, sociological concepts or research to understand large-scale groups of people in terms of maybe the issue you are addressing actually is that you want to understand it at the global level, or you want to understand it at continental level, or you want to understand it at state or national level, you say the issue you are looking at it, you're researching it, theorizing it within the confine of macro sociology, because that's a very large scale. So, but sociologists also believe these two areas are very important. Doing sociology at the micro level, depending on the problems we want to understand, or you want to do it at the macro level, depending on the issues we want to understand. So that's not a problem, basically. It's just for us to understand what they mean and why they are very important, because they could have implications for your analysis and your explanations. You must understand, because sometimes we are in seminars, sometimes you examine PhD students or even researchers, and you ask them, what is your unit of analysis? What is your level of analysis? Are you looking at this issue from the perspective of micro sociology or macro sociology? And they simply get confused. They don't understand what they're talking about, because your understanding of this will determine how well you are going to be able to explain that scenario or that situation or that problem. Because that will also affect the kind of theories you adopt. But at this point I want to mention, micro is more subjective rather than objective. Subjective means you are just looking at the issue within the context where it is happening. You are not trying to impose meanings on them. You are not trying to impose objectivity on them. You're just looking at it purely from the angle of the actors. You are more subjective about it. You are not trying to say, okay, I want to be factual, I want to be objective. No, you just want to understand the situation, to interpret it. So micro sociology is more subjective and interpretative. If you watch my last video immediately before this on sociology as a science, to what extent is sociology really a science? I address this issue of subjectivity there also, and interpretative understanding. So micro sociology is more subjective and interpretative. You simply want to interpret that situation, that problem, the scenario you are trying to understand. That is very important. Whereas macro sociology is sometimes trying to be very objective. Objective, in which case you try to use statistics, you try to use figures, whereas micro sociology try to do more of meanings attached to human action. And here this, very important. While sometimes some people are more interested in micro sociology, is because it's like zooming into the very small scale interaction to better understand. I usually call this earthworm view of human action, where we talk about macro sociology as eagle high view. Eagle can fly so high and see to the ground, but cannot see underneath the ground. So you can only see, far from the sky. You can see so much, covering so many places, but eagle cannot see deep under the earth. Unlike earthworm can see, may not see so far into the sky, but can see deeper into the ground. So that's metaphorical basically. So I call micro sociology earthworm view of understanding human action and society, because it then allows you to zoom into the very small, very basic, very minute details of issues you are trying to understand in terms of understanding human action. While macro sociology will simply give you general overview of the issue, but micro digs down into it, to understand what is going on. So micro is more contextual within that environment, and micro is not interested in generalization, whereas macro most times want to generalize. In fact, that's why you are going so global. That's why you are going so continental. That's why you look at the issue in a very broad sense, so that you want to see patterns across wider places. So that's what you do in macro. And this will determine the theory and the methodology you're going to adopt and your unit and level of analysis. So macro want to generalize, you deploy statistics, to see patterns and trends. But those winners, what I'm saying, they are basically relevant for analytical purposes. There's something we call triangulation. So you can also balance the macro and the micro. But for the benefit of the advanced sociology students and advanced sociologists and the basic sociologists, I'm trying to break it down as simply as possible. But to let you know, you can still draw sharp differences for pedagogical reason. Sharp differences between the macro and the micro, but the micro and the macro, but there are also overlaps. But very important to me is to let you know that it's very important to understand these differences and their implications for theories and research and for sociology as a discipline. So micro is more interested in the day-to-day interaction of small groups, but macro is more interested in the consequences of action, problems, and how they have broader implications beyond the small groups. Micro wants to understand the small groups, what are the issues, how are the issues affecting people, what are the drivers of the issues, what are the causes, what are the consequences within that contextual scenario, not because we want to generalize. No. But macro intends to probably generalize, look at basic structures of the society in a bigger form. So when you're studying maybe power relations, between spouses or among spouses within a family system, definitely you're talking about macro. When you're looking at poverty, our political economy of poverty in Asia, in Africa, in Ghana, in the United States, or you're looking at the Ukraine-Russian war or Russia-Ukraine war and the role of diplomacy, definitely you're already talking about macro sociology. We're looking at power as a zero-sum game, the case study of Russia-Ukraine war. That is macro. We're already talking about even global economy and the power structures, geopolitical power negotiations and agitation. That's already global. That's macro sociology. When you look at the power dynamics between spouses, economic negotiations among peers or within a subgroup, definitely you're already talking about micro sociology. So that's the way it is. So these have implications for all of this. When you now understand the trajectories or the differences, between macro and micro sociology, it will affect how you choose your research setting. I have a video on research setting and study area on this channel. It will affect your methodology, how you choose your methodology. It will affect the kind of questions, the research questions you're going to ask. I have a video on research questions here too. The objectives of the study, the research design. I have a video on research design here too. It will affect even the theories you're going to adopt. And this is very important. Let me show you. If you are adopting micro sociology, you have to use micro theories that look at the interpersonal relationship between people or among people in small scale. So we have micro sociological theories. We also refer to them as action theories. For example, if you're using micro sociology, then you must know that you're not going to use Marxism most of the time. You're not going to likely use structural functionalism most of the time. After this video, I will drop videos on sociological theory. There's a video on how best to understand theories on this channel. So make sure you view that video. So after this video on macro sociology, I will do a series of videos on sociological theories. We're taking these theories one after the other. So watch out and stay tuned. That's why you have to subscribe and tap your notification button, so that when I drop these videos, you will be alerted so you can view this video. So if you are adopting micro sociological perspective, definitely you're going to need micro theory. You're going to need micro theories. That's why you need theories like ethnomethodology, phenomenology, phenomenology, You need that. Then you need social action theory. Then you may need symbolic interactionism, just to mention a few. Phenomenology, symbolic interactionism, social action theory. Then you use ethnomethodology, just to mention example. Because these are theories that actually look at interpersonal relationship, among people within small groups. But when you're doing macro sociology, you're not going to use phenomenology. You're not going to use ethnomethodology. You're not going to use social action. You're not going to use symbolic interactionism, because those will not have the capacity to explain structural issues that affect the global or larger scale issues we want to look at. You're going to need macro theories like Marxism or structural functionalism, depending on the perspective or the paradigms you want to use. So that once we look at this, we can see the part, we can use your logic of argument in this work. So it's very important. Then you can analyze your data, interpret your data, and issue conclusion and recommendation within the confine of your work. And this is very important. Even it becomes very easy for you or for your readers to understand your unit of analysis or level of analysis. Very interesting, isn't it? Thank you very much for staying tuned. Until I see you in my next video, kindly subscribe and tap your notification button. Tap the subscribe button on your screen. Click the subscribe button on your screen and tell others about this channel. So stay tuned. I'm going to drop videos on these theories I've mentioned and many more. Until I see you in my next video. Bye for now.